pushing for justice in the Oxford High School shootings, grief and anger directed at the teenager responsible.
His blatant lack of human decency and disturbing thoughts on life in general do not in any way warrant a second chance. My son doesn't get a second chance, and neither should he.
The sobs came from a deep part in me. Tears soaked the cold floor I laid on.
Students who survived the violence of November 30th, 2021, reliving moments that leave painful scars.
I was laying on my side like this, and I realized what had just happened. I was just shot, and I thought I was gonna die.
And those words, so tough to hear. Good afternoon, I'm Kimberly Gill, reporting for Karen Drew today. Before the sentencing, you just saw survivors, family members, and friends come up one by one to share their stories. In all, about 29 people we heard from today give their victim impact statements. Let's get out to Rod Maloney. He was listening into those statements today. He's been following the story from the very beginning. He joins us live. What a tough day for so many, Rod.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to explain the sadness, the anger, the rage, the frustration with this whole situation. And of course, perhaps the biggest surprise of all was the shooter actually apologizing to the families as a result of this. And in fact, when they had the opportunity to have their impact statements allowed in court today, many lined up and vented their frustration directly at the shooter.
The shooter sat emotionless at the defense table in his orange jail uniform, flanked by heavy security. He rarely even looked up, but the long line of victims took their opportunity to vent at him. First in line, Nicole Beausoleil, Madison Baldwin's mother.
In hopes that this would destroy me or suffering would be unbearable. You failed. I'm so much stronger than you, and your weakness consumes you.
Raina St. Juliana is Hannah St. Juliana's sister, who said that her life is forever altered and changed for the worse.
A creature who left Hannah lying in her own pool of blood, crying in pain, who went to go shoot her again, does not deserve to take another breath. His parents would never see the light of day. Oxford District employees would be fully held accountable.
Shooting survivor Aiden Watson says he's still looking over his shoulder every day, whether at school or in public, concerned that he will get shot again.
I do not believe that he is crazy. I believe it's a scheme. I believe he's trying to lie to us to try to get out of prison early. If it were up to me, it would never happen. He would never be able to touch grass outside of prison.
And finally, Oxford student Avery Bluenstein asked the shooter to look at her. He didn't, but she lashed out nonetheless.
You're not special. You don't have a divine right. You're just an insecure, weak, fragile, insecure boy who could not deal with his own problems. Your name will never be said. Now, the rest of us are left with the pieces.
So you're looking right now at the courtrooms that have emptied after this sentencing. Dozens of parents and school students from Oxford High School here listening to all of the testimony today. We just watched them walk out, some of them in tears. For many, this is exactly the outcome that they were hoping for. It's been a long couple of years, and certainly we're going to be talking to them and hearing from them at Local 4 News at 5 and 6. Reporting live in Pontiac, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
And as Rod mentioned, and I think most people would agree, maybe the most shocking thing that came out of today's sentencing was that we heard from the confessed shooter himself. Still a teenager, he apologized for the shootings, and he had this to say to the judge.
I am a really bad person. I have done terrible things that no one should ever do. I have lied, been not trustworthy. I've hurt many people, and that's what I've done, and I'm not denying it, but that's not who I plan on to be. Whatever sentence it is, I do plan to be better than I am. I don't know if you'll believe that, but records of 15, 20, 25 years can show that I will change.
Again, the first time we've heard him speak. We still have 2 crews at the courthouse waiting to see who might talk about the decision in this coming hour. We'll bring you live updates as needed and continue our coverage when you join us for Local 4 News at 5 o'clock.